Welcome students. After watching renal neoplasia, now we move on to the remaining urological malignancies or urogenital malignancies. We begin with carcinoma of urinary bladder. Etiology: chronic cystitis, as we have already seen, formed through schistosomiasis, is one of the contributory factors for formation of bladder malignancy. Drugs such as phenacetin, analgin are contributory. Too much caffeine intake by ingesting lot of coffee is also contributory to formation of CA bladder. Cigarette smoking is also contributory. There is altered tryptophan metabolism that is detected as the etiological factor for formation of CA bladder. Few industrial workers such as azoaniline dye workers are prone for development of CA bladder. Genetically, there is deletion of short arm of chromosome 15, that is 15p is a protective tumor suppressor gene. Its deletion leads to formation of CA bladder. Plus 17p53 multifocality has also been observed in CA bladder. Blood group: patient with blood group O is more prone to have CA bladder than blood group A. Now the pathogenesis. There has been one theory of initiation and promotion has been contemplated in development of CA bladder. We will have a look how it goes. Initially, there is a normal urothelium. Now, as you are aware, normal urothelium consists of 7 to 8 different layers: mucosa, submucosa, lamina propria, premuscularis, muscularis, fascia, and a serosa. So 7 to 12 layers sometimes can, with variable changes, will formulate normal urothelial cells or normal urothelium. Now there is initiation of this tumor invasion, which leads to change in a cellular architecture. This causes loss of cohesive bonds in between the normal urothelial cells. So the tumor cells will shade the urothelial cells. But sometimes this process takes another path and the tumor cells are retained. So it is getting promoted or promotion. Cells with early features of malignancy then become evident, such as dysplastic cells. Now at this stage of malignancy, CA bladder will show well differentiated features. If this process of initiation and promotion further continues, the cells will undergo one more mutation and will have a metaplastic cell phase or metaplasia. Again the promotion and initiation continues, then it further deteriorates into poorly differentiated or anaplastic form of urothelial cells, which will have a very bad prognosis, and urothelium now will show a definite tumor formed or earlier ulceration of the urothelium. Pathologically, there are various stages and phases of tumors have been classically described. Two, three main types we will discuss, that is superficial bladder tumor. Now what are the peculiarities of the superficial bladder tumor? Once superficial will remain always superficial as a dictum. Will show well differentiated epithelial cells, no muscle invasion, no lymphatic infiltration. Complete excision is possible in this scenario, hence it will carry very good prognosis. Next is the carcinoma in situ. In carcinoma in situ, it is considered to be a highly malignant form of CA bladder, where one can observe a red velvety patch. Now here I have drawn a small simple diagram which will give you an overview of various stages of bladder tumor. This first diagram will give you complete scenario of through what stages a bladder tumor can present to us with. It can initially present to us as carcinoma in situ. It means that the tumor is limited till the basement membrane. It has not gone beyond the lamina propria. So it is evident as a red velvety patch on cystoscopic examination. Normal urothelium can look as a pale mucosa against this bright red velvety patch, which is the earliest manifestation of the tumor. Next, it can form a small nodule. Sometimes a papillary stalk can come out and papillary tumor can be evident. Sometimes a large exophytic growth can be seen in the bladder. Now this is a zone of a trigone, and these are the two openings of the ureters into the bladder, or ureterovesical junctions. Now sometimes tumor actually engulfs these ureters, and due to this there is back pressure and there is hydronephrosis, or sometimes even renal failure, because this is a very chronic process. So this diagram is showing various stages of bladder tumor to us. Sometimes it can actually have at the bladder neck and cause obstructive symptoms to us. So carcinoma in situ will have altered cellular architecture. Again, no muscle invasion, as I have already told you, limited till the basement membrane. So local cure is still possible. Hence, if detected in time, will bear good prognosis. Pathology, last stage, that is the invasive form. It is now poorly differentiated pattern. Muscle invasion is present. Lymphatic invasion comes into picture the moment muscle gets invaded by tumor cells. Local cure is unfortunately not possible. Hence, this particular entity will have bad prognosis. 4 subtypes have been observed: exophytic, papilliferous, solid form, or sometimes ulcerative form that we have seen. Invasive pattern. Clinical features. Patient can have painless and profuse hematuria. Now here we differentiate it from the hematuria of RCC, which is painless and progressive. As the tumor will grow, it will become progressively more and more. Here, to begin with only, it is progressive because larger portion of the urothelium is getting engulfed by these tumor cells, and it will be a total hematuria or a complete hematuria. When the trigone is invaded by the tumor cells, we will have irritative symptoms of frequency and urgency, sometimes chronic renal failure. Typically, the sites involved for the tumor have been shown into a small simple diagram. The dome of the bladder will have only 5% infiltration. Bladder neck will show 5%. Lateral walls on either side can have up to 15%, and posterior wall will bear up to 75% of the tumor. So this simple diagram one needs to remember. Investigations: biochemical, again CBC to detect early anemia, urine nutrient microscopy to detect various crystals, infections, culture sensitivity to isolate the microorganisms for urinary tract infection, because many of these patients will have urinary tract infection because of the bladder neck obstruction and stasis, and urinary cytology for malignant cells. Renal function tests will be compromised if the tumor is engulfing the ureterovesical junctions. So there will be marked elevated creatinine. And liver function to ascertain the tumor dissemination into the liver. Radiologically, again, sonography forms the baseline. IVU very important. But if CT scan is available, it is considered as a gold standard investigation for identifying various features of CA bladder as well as to stage the disease. Special investigations. Cystoscopy, again a gold standard, because it is not only diagnostic but it is also therapeutic in the earlier stage of carcinoma in situ. Biopsies taken from the suspicious area as well as from other sites such as opposite bladder wall, trigone, bladder neck, and posterior urethra. Why do we need to take so many other biopsies besides the area of suspicion? Because there is some phenomenon known as a field change that occurs in the CA bladder malignancy. Now, here what happens, due to this field change, it is not just one area in the bladder that is under affection or under tumor invasion, but patchy involvement of various portions of the urothelium simultaneously is evident and has been shown microscopical infiltration. This is what we call as a field change. So from other different areas, if you do not take the biopsies, you are likely to miss the tumor dissemination, and we are likely to treat the disease at half rate. So that's why one needs to take the multiple biopsies from different sites. Now to stage the disease. We have Marshall, Jewett and Strong's classification, which classifies the tumor into 4 main categories. A stage, which is subdivided into 2 types, superficial versus reaching till lamina propria. Superficial means carcinoma in situ and reaching till lamina propria. B, again in 2 types, superficial muscle involvement against deep muscle involvement. C, entire bladder infiltration reaching till the perivesical fat. And lastly D, local lymphatic involvement against distant metastasis. Now what treatment options do we have? Bladder resection usually is a good surgical option available for stage A disease. Bladder sparing surgery sometimes is very useful for stage B and C also. Partial cystectomy or salvage cystectomy is useful, but if we are planning for a total cystectomy, then we have to have a condo preparation. That is, we have to actually replace the bladder with use of ileum, which will form a new bladder for us. Radiotherapy for stage B and C is must post surgery. Sometimes we have to use the combination, that is a radiation plus chemotherapy or chemoradiation. Now this particular tumor can be benefited with special modality of treatment, that is intravesical chemotherapy. Now here we instill the chemotherapeutic agent into the bladder and we clamp the urethra. So the chemotherapeutic agent comes in close proximity with the bladder mucosa and actually treats the tumor. Intravesical immunotherapy is also very important. We use either BCG or interferons in treatment. Again, 1 hour contact period minimum is required and we have to give at least this for 6 weeks settings. Newer modalities like laser ablation is very useful in the earlier stages of red velvety patch. Prognosis. Prognosis is usually very good for stage A disease. 85 to 90% will have a 5-year survival rate. For stage B, it is 60% for 5 years survival. Stage C can also have up to 50% provided they take chemoradiation post-surgically and follow to us meticulously. However, stage D will have only 10% survival rate because of the widespread dissemination of the tumor, majority of the patients will die within 1 year. So as to summarize in this CA bladder, what is important to us is we have to know that it can present to us in various forms. Most important to understand, there can be field change. Other areas which otherwise will look normal, we should also take biopsy from such areas because there is a protocol that has been laid down by various apex bodies of the urology. So that is also a very important factor. Otherwise we'll just have a part of it that is getting engulfed. And lastly, if you offer correct treatment, the prognosis is usually better up to 90%.